Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. What I'd like to do today is to take a look at the moving in a slightly different direction in watch collection. Now, it's not leaving watch collection, but it's taking some steps to try to understand the whole aspect of mechanical watches a little better. And so what I did, I signed up for an online course in watchmaking. And the one I signed up for is called the Time Zone course, and it's not for certification as a watchmaker or anything like that. It's for pretty much a hobbyist. And so what I'm going to do today is talk about what what happens if some of you that I've talked with, communicated with, have really expressed an interest in taking a course like this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sort of go through it, not only today, but sort of over a period of time, and talk about it. And then we can also talk about it in relationship to watch collection. To start off, let's take a look at the workbench. This is a desktop workbench. I put it up on top of a desk, and then everything is up high. If you want to make it higher or lower, you can add some wood underneath it and a couple wood blocks or something to make it. If you want to make it higher, you can do it that way. I like it at this height right now. I may end up getting higher. I see all those pictures of these guys working like this, so maybe I'll be doing that soon. Who knows? Okay, let's take a look at the different kinds of things that are some of the tools that we worked with. First of all is the loop. Now, when most people got the kit, they got two loops, a 4x, which means a magnet made the thing 4 times bigger, and then a 10x, which made it 10 times bigger. What I got was the little different than that, and it's these are magnifiers right here that I put on my glasses, and they have 3 different magnifications. First of all, they just have, using the big one, which is sort of a relatively low to medium magnification. This one is a pretty close up. Or the third one is that when you bring them together like this, you get a much closer view of them all. They didn't provide the X numbers. In other words, they said, well, this will get at these layers, and I tried them out, as you can see in the picture. But they didn't tell us what it was. Well, maybe I'll find that out later. The next thing that we got a pair of 2 pairs of tweezers, and the tweezers are things that we'll be using a lot. Essentially, what you do with the tweezers is that you have a tray, and in that tray you put all of the screws and the parts that you're going to use, and then you pick them out with the tweezers. Now they have the 2 that they have. One's called a number 5, and the other one's called a number 2. The smaller one is the 5, and the bigger one is the 2. I guess the very biggest one would be a 1 then. All right. That greenish color roll is a cleaning clay. What you do with it, you roll it up into little balls, and then you dab it in different places in the watch, and it'll pick out the any kind of dust or shavings or anything you want to get rid of, the little fine particles, without hurting anything. Now, if in addition to that, for keeping things nice and clean, you have this what's called a blower, and a blower is just it's a dust blower. Basically, you can might give it a puff and knock certain things out of your watch or away from the watch, depending on which one you're going to be using. The you have a little thing that looks that's a clamp. This guy right here, and it's used for it's a movement holder. And what you do is that you put the movement in here, and then you make it bigger or smaller. And so when you're working on it, you're actually not touching anything on the movement, but you can work with the movement holder itself. The picture there is the movement we get, which is Salida. I think it's Salida 201, something like that. It's basically the same thing as ETA caliber 2801 -2. All right, the next thing, and I got them up here, are the screwdrivers, and they showed us how to work with the screwdrivers. With the screwdrivers, you hold it like this, and then you have something. This red one I know fits these little screws that are on the back of my old Leroy, and so if I want to move them, take them out, I just put it right here and then move it by twisting it. Let me see if I can do that. Yep, this guy's starting to come out. I better put it back before I break something. You can, if you put it up in your palm like this, you can add more pressure to it. You got to be careful. Believe me, I already broke one of these things. When I got my screwdrivers, one of the smallest ones was crooked, so I thought, well, I'll just bend it back and pop, it came off. So anyway, I got my start. I broke my first tool so far. The other ones perhaps will be afraid. One of the things, I don't know if you noticed it or not, in the pictures there's this little piece of paper, and what you do is that when you start work, you put one of these down on top of your work pad, and this keeps it sterile and clean and anti-magnetic. You get a whole bunch of those things, and I think you use them once and out they go. Okay, well that's sort of the starting place where I am right now. Let me say a little more about this workbench. This is a desktop workbench, and it's a you can put everything you want in here, and it's very handy. Here, another thing we got here is these wooden sticks, and the wooden sticks are for something. They haven't told us yet what they're for, but as I progress and break more things, I'll keep everyone apprised of it. This is one of my larger loops. I have all of my extra loops down here. Then in here you have a key that you can keep everything that you want to lock up inside. Excuse me, under key and lock. You got lots of these little drawers which are extremely handy. For organizing things and putting things where they belong, and that's important because the complexity of a watch is something that you want to know where your tools are, and you got different tools for different kinds of things that you're doing. Now, the fact that I'm working with a movement that would not be in a watch that I would particularly like to have, even though one may have snuck in there, the Salida. You can really learn the fundamentals of it without spending a fortune. Also, too, if you have some old watches that you're not using, or you have some old movements that aren't working, those are also good candidates, I think, for practicing this kind of work on. As I go along in this course, I'll be at the end of it, I hope to have a watch, and I got a case and a case back for the watch that I'm building, and part of the kit is a little dial and the hand. You have to put those on yourself, which is, I guess, we're gonna learn how to do. Taking it apart and putting it back together, it's one of those things that is very instructive. Uh, One of the books that I got that's not included was George Daniels' book on watchmaking. And for him, watchmaking was almost a religion. And so the way he talks about it is that the kind of environment, people working hours on end with their nose to the table, and it talks about it as taking a special kind of focus. I used to program, and sometimes you can get into what I call a Zen state of programming, where you're just, a problem is so interesting, and you have a part of the solution, and you're working through the algorithms, and you're working through the different code to solve a problem. It's a very, you can do that hours on end. If anybody's ever programmed, they may know what I'm talking about. One of the other lessons I learned is that using the tweezers again. That's what we're going to be picking up a lot of screws and put them into that little covered case and in and out. And one of the things is that the way to do it is that you pick it up by the neck near the top of the screw, and never by the threads. And in this way, so basically, when you pick it up this way instead of this way. The reason for it is that if you have it by the neck, then you can lower it into the hole to screw it in. This entire course is one that you do at your own pace, and I'm coming to going to part 3. I'm in part 3 right now. Some of the first things that they deal with was like how to make this sort of like a magnet broom, and with the magnet broom you clean up and you get all of the metal shards out of the way, but also you find screws. One of the few times that I was decided to play watchmaker, basically taking the back off of Raymond Wall, and I was going to open that up, and I immediately lost it. That thing went, whoop, and I turned the place upside down. I couldn't find it. The same thing can happen with spring bars and anything else that's small and metal, and so they suggest you make this great big broom and do it with that. Well, listen, I just wanted to sort of get started on this travel that I'm taking into watchmaking, and the purpose of it is I'm not going to become a watchmaker, but I may be able to solve certain kinds of problems with my own collection of watches, and by problems I mean small service problems and things like that. Nothing big. I'm not going to be making a watch from inventing a new movement or anything like that, but rather learning how to take a watch apart and put it back together, and perhaps doing some minor repairs. I want you to know that I've already mastered the art of taking the back off and changing the battery, so I'm not very far along. Okay, well, that's all I want to talk about today, is sort of getting started in watchmaking and having the different kinds of tools, and then setting up your environment. One of the things that George Daniels talked about was having light, lots of light. The lights I've been using, I have 2 of them. One is the light from my light tent, and the other one is this magnifying light. And this has been plenty, but I think I might be getting another fluorescent light to put right, so it's right over the top of my workbench here, my desktop workbench. Also, what I had to do, I had to cut back. This is a computer table that I'm using, And what I had to do is to cut a section out of it so it would fit. And now it's flush up against it. All right. Well, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Uh, and so please, give me your feedback. If you have experience in watchmaking, either as a professional or as an amateur, like myself, and I can't even call myself a watchmaker yet, sort of like a pre, a pre-apprentice doing watchmaking. Okay, so I'd like to hear what you have to say. If you'd like to subscribe, this is an invitation. And hope to see you on Sunday. I got something sort of special for Sunday. This is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Side, the art and science of watch collection.